Political mechanics now. Let's turn to MSNBC political analyst Howard Fineman of Newsweek, soon to be senior political editor at the Huffington Post. Good evening, Howard.
Hi, Keith.
The vote on extending tax cuts for the middle class and also for the wealthy. Is the House going to punt? Is it not dead yet? Is it any clearer today than it was last week?
Well, as of a little while ago when I was talking to some of my sources on the Hill, Keith, I'd say it's comatose. I think Nancy Pelosi would like to do it. I think some of the political leaders in the House on the Democratic side would like to try to do it. I know here in Pennsylvania, I'm in Philadelphia tonight, here in Pennsylvania, Representative Joe Sestak, who's running for the Senate, would very much like to do it. He thinks it would play here. But there's some conservative Democrats who don't want to do it. And as Ezra Klein says, without the partnership and cooperation of the Senate, the House doesn't want to go first, in part because some of those blue dog Democrats are still angry that they were made by the White House to vote for the cap and trade environment bill a year ago. At least that's their excuse, and they're sticking to it.
The sort of semi-admission by Minority Leader Boehner that he seems a little worried that Pelosi might bring the vote through in the House using suspension, the 2/3. Is that resonating to any degree from what you're hearing? And is there, in fact, a serious approach from the Democrats to do it that way?
It sounds possible. Again, not entirely likely, I don't think. I think it would be a smart thing for the Democrats to do if they were brave, but that would require them to be brave on this issue and have a positive attitude towards it from the beginning. You don't get anything in politics unless you risk something. This, I think, would require would call the Republicans' bluff. It would take approximately 60 Republican votes to bring it up under suspension. If John Boehner says he wants to vote for it, why not call his bluff on it? But I don't hear a ferment to do it right now. Maybe they'll try it the next few days, but that's not the basic sense that I get. And
and swinging back to health care reform, the chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Mr. Van Hollen, is disputing the idea that the Democrats are not talking about their health care reform success. But really, are they doing this to a greater degree even than Republicans continue to talk about it in terms of the parts they would keep?
No, again, Ezra's right. The Republicans are hammering the whole thing as a giant exercise in big government, but the Democrats aren't plucking out and running on in any consistent and high-profile way the things that they could argue were good about it. Like the fact that kids under 26 can be on their parents' plan, like the fact that pre-existing conditions are no longer a bar to coverage, like the fact that there's no limitations on coverage now. These are things that the Democrats could challenge the Republicans to oppose. Why there aren't TV ads talking about this up and down and all across the country, I don't know. Here in Pennsylvania, Sestak's talking about it, but it's not his #1 issue on the campaign trail. Jobs is the #1 issue. It seems like the Democrats don't really want to use a lot of political capital on this. And once again, if you don't use it, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Well, and not only that, but there is something to that old cliche about at the end of the day, some porcelain must be broken if you're going to get anybody's attention to anything. Politics is, to some degree, if it's only the clash of ideas, it should at least be that. And the Democratic idea at the moment seems to be, let's just see if we can tiptoe past this election without anybody noticing the bad things or the good things. Certainly there's a way where you could just emphasize the good things, isn't there? Or am I asking too much of politicians?
I mean, that's what Bill Clinton was a master at that, plucking out the particulars and selling them in an unemotional way. Don't start with the philosophy, start with the kitchen table particulars. Bill Clinton was really good at it. In Pennsylvania here, Pat Toomey, the Republican, is a Club for Growth Republican. He wants to get rid of the whole law. He wants to, cut taxes. He's the pure thing on the conservative side. Sestak, I think, would be wise to do an ad saying, okay, Representative Toomey, which parts of the health care law that have gone into effect right now do you want to deny the voters of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia?
Well, these Democrats are not plucking out, they're plucking off at the moment. MSNBC political analyst Howard Fineman, in this transition period between...
Yes.
I'm sort of loosening you up for Huffington Post.
Okay, thank you very much. I need it.
You've been loosened. Thank you, Howard.